Mike. I'm the founder here at Orange Monkey Recruitment. How did I start my journey in recruitment? Well, I think probably like most. So I left school. It wasn't something that I particularly enjoyed. I didn't leave with any qualifications. I ended up leaving to go and do some traveling across Asia. And when I came back, I knew that I needed a career in something. I didn't want to just sort of do job to job to job. It's like I was looking for something that could give me that longevity that I could grow and develop in. A little bit naive at the time, but I ended up seeing advertised a job for a trainee recruitment consultant. I had no idea what a recruitment consultant was, but I saw the trainee part and thought, well, I don't need to know anything because they're going to train me. Subsequently, ended up going for the interview with the business, and I ended up staying there for a further 13 years. So achieving ultimately what I was looking to do before I then branched out to create my own business and become the founder of Orange Monkey Recruitment. What does success look like for me? So I had a little think about this because I think it's a question we don't typically ask ourselves too much. But for me, the key things that come up is that I don't ever dread work. I know when I worked for another agency where I was working for someone, Sundays were that dreaded feeling of I've got meetings, I need to turn up to an office or whatever it might be. But I just always felt that that wasn't like a driver for me. I wasn't really passionate. But when I joined or when I started my own business, that's something that I never have. I look forward to it. I actually plan my day more on a Sunday now, and I just have a lot more freedom. And yeah, it just doesn't feel like I'm working. It just feels like I'm moving towards something. I think financially, I'm able to say yes to a lot of things, and I think that's a big part of success. I grew up with not too much, so when you sort of grow up that way, you get told no a lot of things you can't have because you just can't afford them. And I grew up thinking that that was going to be something that wasn't going to define me, and that if I wanted something or I wanted to do something, I wanted to be able to say yes to it. I don't actually do much or want much, but I have the choice, I think, is the main thing. Doing something as well in a way which reflects me and something that I'm happy with. I think when I worked for a previous business, you're constricted to certain processes or ways of working that doesn't necessarily reflect you. But I think that takes time to really understand who you are and how you want to work. And now that it's my business, I'm able to run things how I see, communicate how I see, and treat people exactly how I'd want to be treated. And then finally, I think knowing where I want to go. And actually now every day that I come into work, I'm taking steps to get me closer to exactly where I want to be in life. What are some of the key challenges as a founder? Certainly for me, the admin side. I'm not a big fan of the nitty gritty, the detail. As a recruiter, which I think is quite common, we're good at talking with people. We're good at personal relationships and speaking. Actually digging in on the detail side, it's part and parcel of the job, but it's not particularly something I enjoy, I have to be honest. And then probably one of the biggest challenges was certainly when I started the business. Obviously, nobody knows who you are in terms of the business. You may have a reputation that you've bought over, but it's getting to build a certain level of brand that somebody can look at and say, okay, I trust you now to give you my business. And that in the beginning was extremely difficult, certainly just to get jobs to begin recruiting for. That, if you can push through it, gradually gets easier and easier and easier as your company and brand and reputation grow. Promising ways, I see AI changing things in the current market. I think I personally use it a hell of a lot. I use it to create my adverts. I do it for Boolean searches. Writing emails. And now I think one of the key things that the ChatGPT certainly I use, they started is memorizing everything that you put in. So for instance, let's take CV Library or Total Jobs, for example. I can put in exactly what their key criteria or search function is for like Boolean searches. So when I ask ChatGPT to say, create me a Boolean search, it draws on exactly the information that they suggest. And it's no different to adverts. And you don't want to get too reliant on it, and you need to add your kind of style. But actually you can train AI to learn exactly what your style is, how you communicate, the words you use, and then it can create these adverts actually in your image, which is a fantastic function. And I use it as well just for development. So whether that be before, you'd have to sit and read through documents after documents or learning material. Now you stick it in ChatGPT and say, summarize this with the key important parts. And I could do that for podcasts, like terms of business, or maybe legal documents where I'm maybe not too sure. I simply put it in ChatGPT and say, can you explain this to me like you were explaining it to a 5-year-old, and just highlight the key points. And rather than spending 30 minutes reading a document, have it there in 30 seconds. And I think that's something where it saves me a lot of time, especially when I'm not very keen on the admin side. That takes a lot of that away from me if you use it in the right way. How my services differentiate from others in the market? I think as a founder, it's only myself in the business. So I'm a solopreneur. I'm the main point of contact. In bigger businesses, sort of companies get palmed off to maybe somebody less experienced, or maybe not as skilled in certain areas, maybe because they haven't had the time, and the level of service or quality of service that they actually end up receiving is not to the level that's expected. Whereas the business that I manage, the standards are always maintained, because I'm the one that's maintaining it all the time. I've only ever specialized in one area of recruitment in my past company and in this business. So I've got 15 years of experience solely in one area. And in that time, I've grown a reputation of being somebody who knows what the market's like, how the market reacts, and having a vast network of people that know and trust me. And then I think probably just how I communicate with clients and candidates. Personally, I always say I put myself in that person's shoes and think, what would I want? What is it I'm looking for? And by doing that, I'm able to tailor my approach specifically to any individual that I'm communicating with. Any advice I would give to recruiters or founders alike? I think the first bit would be automate where you can. There is a lot of softwares, and the technology and the development that is happening, Recruiter is a prime example, is just steadily increasing all the time. You can do a lot out there without doing very much, and you can just get the machines doing it for you. And I've generated a lot of revenue from doing it this way, thinking about what's the best software I could use to maybe take certain tasks away from me. I think the best advice is to be clear on where you want to go. And that's not only in your business life, but also in your personal life. Now, I sit down at the end of every year before January starts, and I draw out a detailed plan of exactly where I want to be at the end of the year. The things I want to achieve, how I want to look, feel, types of clothing, whatever it might be. The more detail that you go into, listen, I'm not one for saying you manifest things like that, but I think if you have a clear picture in your mind, you're very easily able to then dismiss things that don't get you closer to that goal and able to get there a lot faster. And then invest in development. The biggest investment you can ever make is in yourself. Jump on courses, jump on podcasts, invest and learn from people that do things better or in a simpler way than you do. By doing this, you're going to maximize who you are and your potential revenues. Hope this helps.